Okay, good morning. It's almost afternoon, war and conspiracy class. I'm putting together a video just to make sure that in your reading of Unwind, and that's what we're starting our online schooling with, just trying to make sure that everything is making sense to you and you know what you should be walking away with as you read Unwind. So I'm going to walk you through a few notes. Make sure that you've taken the quiz on pages 1 through 50. And then in today's overview, I've already listed what you have to read for this week. Had we been in class together, I would have read the Bill of Life. I don't know if we can pick that up or not. With you. It's in the intro to the book. This is key because it establishes what the new United States is like. So the United States has fought a second civil war over life rights. And after that war has ended, this is the second Bill of Rights, Bill of Life that they've come together and agreed upon. The Second Civil War, also known as the Heartland War, was a long and bloody conflict fought over a single issue. To end the war, a set of constitutional amendments known as the Bill of Life was passed. It satisfied both the pro-life and pro-choice army. So in this futuristic novel, the Second Civil War was fought over life rights. The Bill of Life states that human life may not be touched from the moment of conception until a child reaches the age of 13, and you know how hypocritical this is. If you did your reading of pages 1 through 50, you know that parents and basically the judicial system, any adult, can choose to have anybody between 13 and 18 unwound, which is killing, that they are dead. But they're justifying it by the following rules. So let's finish the Bill of Life. However, between the ages of 13 and 18, a parent may choose to retroactively abort a child. How in heaven's name do you retroactively abort a child? But anyway, that's what they're saying happens on the condition that the child's life doesn't technically end. So they're playing this game of hypocrisy, and they're saying that the child's life doesn't end because all of the child's body parts, or something like 97% of the child's body parts, will be used for transplants, blood, vessels, all that kind of stuff. So medicine has advanced to the point where a human body, once it's deceased, can be completely used. And that's how they're justifying unwinding teenagers. The process by which a child is both terminated and yet kept alive is called unwinding. Unwinding is now a common and accepted practice in society. So guys, from the outset, we're meant to pick up on the hypocrisies of what's going on in this world because the adults are justifying killing kids between 13 and 18, but they're using that very polite term of unwinding to justify that death. And the only other thing I want to mention, you guys are juniors and seniors, so I would assume that most of you are through the toughest years. What are your toughest years? Middle school into high school. So if you think about when you've really clashed with your parents, or maybe that's still going on for you, if parents had that out of being able to unwind their kids, holy heaven, what a thing for parents to hold over their kids. I think about my three. Ellie, I'm upset with you today, so I'm going to sign an unwind order because you're not behaving enough. Or is that something that's constantly threatened in houses? And if you've done your reading, you know that that's exactly what's happening in Connor's house. Okay, part 1 begins, and there's 7 parts to the novel, with this triplicate and then this quote. And guys, don't ignore these quotes. So I'm going to read it aloud just to make sure that you haven't lost track of it. I was never going to amount to much anyway, but now statistically speaking, there's a better chance that some part of me will go on to greatness somewhere in the world. I'd rather be partly great than entirely useless. And the quote is from Samson Ward. Ward meaning we know he was a ward of the state. He didn't have a family kind of thing. So teenagers are being kind of brainwashed, just like Lev is brainwashed. If you did your reading, teenagers are brainwashed to believe that if you're messing up in your everyday life, it's better to exist in a divided state and have all of your stuff donated to other people, and maybe you'll go forth into more good in the world. Okay, so if you did your reading, this is what you should have walked away with. The story is set in the Midwest, and I just have my notes here that I am using, guys. It takes place in Ohio. So very middle of the country, very much like us, Midwest kind of thing. Keep that in mind. We have Connor introduced first. Guys, Connor's not a bad kid. but he has a temper and he's reactionary. I don't blame him at times for that temper or his reactions kind of thing. He's a good person at the core. I don't think his family accepts that or believes it. His family has decided to have him unwound. He's figured that out. They don't know that he's figured that out. After he figures out his family wants him unwound, he's determined to punish his family. And I kind of like how he messes with his parents, sending his mom flowers, all that kind of stuff. He is trying to escape the unwind order. He meets this trucker. Guys, the trucker is foreshadowing. The trucker is very good with card tricks, and he explains to Connor that he's good at these card tricks because of the new forearm that he got. He had an accident. He has a donated forearm and hand. That's where he gets all of these card tricks from. So that's put in the novel to reveal to all of us early how the unwinding process works. So no person's body is wasted. They're simply unwound kind of thing. We meet Risa. Risa is growing up in a state home, and she's called a stat hoe. Yep, kind of funny. She's talented, but just not talented enough. So she doesn't play that piano piece perfectly, and therefore she's not going to be kept. She is also under an unwind order. I don't know what you know about the foster care system, but if you're growing up in an orphanage or in a home like Risa is, my gosh, do you have to be tough. Survival of the fittest. So eventually when Risa meets Connor and literally kind of comes at him swinging at times, it's because she's so defensive and she's figured out that that's what she has to be in order to survive. She has a strong survival instinct and she's very street smart. Love is completely indoctrinated. Love irritates the hell out of me, just saying. His family has decided to tithe him. The T-I-T-H-E word is tithe. It's actually traced back to biblical Old Testament, where there is a book in the Bible that says that good Christians, good people will tithe 10% of their income. Love's family has decided to interpret that as donating 10% of their children, and Love is lucky number 10 to the unwinding system. So he's brainwashed, his parents are brainwashed. His brother Marcus is the only one at the tithing party who tries to call out his parents and make clear that this system is completely insane. They shouldn't do it. Watch Pastor Dan. Hopefully, if you've read, you've paid attention to him. They all come together in the accident. Notice that Pastor Dan tells Love to run. Pastor Dan seemingly is part of this tithing system, but he's really not. He hates unwinding. He knows how insane it is. Stay with me, guys. I'm almost there. I know it's really, really hard to see, but just a few notes. On page 39, we have to meet the juvie cops so we know how the judicial system works, how law enforcement works. And they're kind of portrayed as doofuses. They can't shoot to kill sort of thing. That's worth noting. The legend of Humphrey Dumpty is mentioned on page 44. It's a Frankenstein kind of legend. And as you get to learn more, you didn't learn it in this section, but it's coming in the next section. The way the legend or the myth works, Humphrey Dumpty's family, parents, had him unwound and then regretted it. And they've been on this lifelong search to find all of the body parts of their kids. I'm coming in, so I'm moving so that I can keep doing this, even though the mail lady's coming in. Okay, and let me quick finish. In this new United States, it's very much like the Hunger Games. We have on page 45 mentioned that there's not a lot of natural beauty. People are able to change themselves, their eye color, their hair color, pigment their skin. They can really mess with themselves and their physicality. And that's also what the Hunger Games is all about, if you've seen the film, read the books kind of thing. And the last thing that I want to note, Connor and Risa have a strong connection. Both of them comment about how they're drawn to each other. And there's already a level of trust. So as this first part ends, Connor, Risa, and Love are on the run. Connor and Risa have this connection. Love is the odd one out. Okay, guys, look at this week's overview for what you have to read as far as Unwind. Hope you're really enjoying the book. I just want to briefly say I miss the heck out of you guys. This is not teaching. I'd much rather be in a classroom. There's so much that we could be debating, but video is kind of the best that I can do. So hang in there, be well, stay healthy, and hopefully we're back together soon. See you all. How do I stop?